Should the San Antonio Spurs pick Kai Sotto in the second round with the 38th overall pick? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. You've been talking about Kai Sotto for days, for weeks, maybe months in the comments in my videos. I thought it was time to talk about him, talk about his offense, his defense, his intangibles. Saw 2 articles on ESPN.com that'll drop in the comments below if you want to read them. But I did some research on him, watched some videos on him. And is this a player the Spurs could draft with their pick in the second round? Now, I don't see him going in the first round, but could they take a chance on the 20-year-old 7'2", 232-pound Filipino center in the second round? I think they possibly could. We're going to talk about that. Drop a comment down below. Is this a player you'd like to see us take in the second round? Subscribe for more Spurs content and hit that thumbs up because I support a fellow Spurs channel. So Kai Sotto, what did he do last season? Well, he played in the NBL and he provided glimpses of what could come and average 7.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 0.8 blocks in over 15 minutes. In only 15 minutes. In 24 games, he shot just under 50% from the floor, about 36% from beyond the arc, so he would be a stretch 5, and a very respectable 68% from the free throw line. I say respectable because centers generally struggle there. Our current center has been shooting under 50% on a regular basis. Let's get into his offense, and we're going to be quoting a lot what the experts, the NBA scouts, had to say. His offense. Sotto managed to carve out a niche in the NBL, albeit in a limited role because of his unusual blend of size and mobility. Here's what they have to say. There's no reason Sotto would not have the potential to be a productive contributor on the offensive end of the floor, but it is generally only justifiable to play a 7-footer on an NBA floor if they're being heavily utilized on the offensive end. And while Sotto has shown utility as a finisher and lob threat at the NBL level, and I did watch his highlights and certainly agree with that, a clear-cut offensive skill would go a long way into making him a useful NBA player. Do any of our current centers have a clear-cut go-to offensive move? I mean, Jakob's got that little jumper in the paint, the little running jumper. He's kind of developed that over the last season. But do we have any guys that just have that one move that goes, yep, money, like Akeem the Dream's shake and bake move or whatever? Akeem the Dream's, I forgot, I'm rusty. I don't think every guys have that clear-cut move, and I don't think a ton of players have that. So I don't think you need that one move. You just be versatile, be able to dunk, get a layup, hit a mid-range jumper, hit a 3. And from what I've watched, you can do all 3. Let's move on. The first thing that stands out with Kai is that the size is very real. His fluidity and mobility is an intriguing aspect of his game. It really stands out when rolling to the basket, where he has some vicious dunks. Outside of being a drop-off lob option, he seems most successful in getting his offense in the pick and roll. Excellent. Jonathan Murray, all-star point guard. I think he do a very good job of running a pick and roll with him. His mobility and awareness are above average at his height. He has a type of movement that allows himself to find an open lane for big-time dunks and create open shots for himself. And watching highlights again, did watch him create his own shot. So he's very versatile. He's only 20 and hasn't. There's some upside here. Moving right along. There's no doubt that Sotto is a skilled big man. His touch, particularly on short floaters, stood out as a skill he can use to get points around the rim, and he had some fun moments as a lob threat as well. If he continues to improve his hands and strength offensively, whilst refining a basic but effective post game to penalize smaller lineups, then Sotto has a legitimate role offensively. Okay? Everything sounds good so far. Got the game in the paint. Got the game outside the paint. Got the game beyond the arc. So he's very versatile. That's something that, truth be told, we don't have that with our starting center, Jakob Poeltl. And guys, please don't think I don't like Jakob Poeltl and I don't want him to be on the team next season and the following seasons. But he is limited offensively, and I got to call it like I see it. Now, yeah, this guy's not going to, Kai Sotto would not immediately start if the Spurs drafted him. He's not taking Jakob Poeltl's position, but there would be offensive upside in the future. Anyway, moving right along, there is one concern right here. Sotto tallied more turnovers, 32, then assists, only 14 in his first year with Adelaide. That's how you say it. Here we go. A negative assist-to-turnover ratio indicates further experience is needed to make him an efficient player with ball in hand. True. Further growth as a passer as he matures and the game slows down for him will also be extremely helpful as he shows a certain level of vision at previous levels of play. So while that is a concern, Spurs fans, the assist-to-turnover ratio, if the Spurs drafted to him, he's going to the team that I believe had the best assist-to-turnover ratio in the NBA this season. And correct me if I'm wrong, did we end up breaking the record? So this is a team that knows how to pass and really, really limit turnovers. So this will be a great place for him to go to learn where to go with the ball, when to keep the ball, where to throw it out of a double team. Just playing with our guys and practicing. Practice. We are talking about practice. I think this would be very beneficial to him if he went to a team like San Antonio. Let's continue on. Continuing to find ways to maximize the value he gets out of his physical tools while he continues to work on improving the processing and shooting seems to be the current path for Kai. I feel like the next year or so is going to give us a better idea of the extent of his perceivable upside, and it does sound like there's a lot of upside for this 7'2" young man and his offense. So this is a player I'm excited about offensively. However, basketball is not just an offensive game. There's a defensive side of the game as well. And here's what Espen had to say about Kai's defense. Sotto's size and length has made him a viable rim protector in the NBL, where he averaged 1.9 blocks per 36 minutes, 7th among 84 players who played at least 15 minutes a game per Spatial Jam. He also posted a sixth highest block rate, 5.3%, among 76 players who played at least 350 minutes, according to the website. So he is a rim protector. Certainly something we could always use. Jakob is one of the best in the business. He might not get the blocks per game, but he does get the contested shots. Could we roll with the lineup of Jakob Poeltl as our starting center, and Kai Sotto at some point next season being the backup center, with Zach Collins maybe being a starting power forward or backup power forward depending on the draft, and the odd man out would be Jacques Lindale, or maybe not. Time will tell. Still waiting to see if his game develops. He's going to be at like 27 next season, so it is really now or never for him. Given his defensive motor and willingness to run the floor, I think he has the right mindset suited for the NBA. That's what I like to see. Defensive motor and willingness to run the floor. We recently saw a player get cut last season, Lucas Samanic, it is what it is, that did not show a motor or willingness to run the floor, and that is not going to work in the NBA. So reading this type of things about young players, I think we read this about Jeremy Sohan, a motor, just a drive, those are the type of guys I want on the team, the type of guys that aren't going to give up on a play. Drop bigs can still find ways to be effective on the defensive end of the floor. If Sotto can develop the things in his control, such as his strength, his awareness, and his technique, he could grow to a strong rim protecting presence that could anchor an effective defense. Okay, like I'm reading. And then the intangibles. Kai is a positive influence. Stop the presses right there. Positive influence. I like that already. That's what I like to see. No negativity. Positive influence. Who brings energy and effort to the team at practices and games every day. He's easy to get along with, loves joking, and doesn't back away from challenges. He's coachable and receptive to feedback from coaches and teammates. Seeing him at practices and games reinforces the projection he's achieving. His progress is ideal for both a foreign kid and a 7'3" unicorn. Okay. Well, they almost said 7'3". I see 7'2", 7'3". He's freaking tall. But everything in that paragraph, if there's any takeaway Spurs fans or any general NBA fans stopping into this video, that is the intangible I like to see. Busts his butt. Easy to get along with. Gives it his all, whether it's on practice or in games. Because what you do in practice, contrary to what Allen Iverson says, is probably going to transition into the actual game. If you're giving up or not giving it on your practice, maybe some people can just turn it on when it counts in the game, but you practice hard, you're going to play hard. You practice weak, there's going to be holes in your game. So I love what I'm reading about him right now. And just reading this now makes me go, you know what? More and more, maybe this is a player I would like the Spurs to take a chance on. Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, and we don't have one pick, we have 4 picks. 4 picks. So if the Spurs take him 38th, again, totally up for it. His versatility is unlike most giant bigs, and will continue to show as his body gets more matured. For Kai, who played his first pro season in the NBL with some training with the G League Ignite last season, I think he competed pretty well in a physical league. That being said, strength is still a valid concern heading into the draft. I remember I really liked his passing for a big man, but his body was a big problem. I can recall Sam Froling absolutely dominating him when they played against Australia in the 2019 Under-19 World Cup. I think the way he plays, his height and length helps to make up for that, but he was still struggling against some players in the post. I think it's a valid concern in the NBA if he gets a chance. I think it could be even worse, and he could struggle a fair bit against stronger post players. Over time, I think he continues to get stronger, and his muscle growth has been very promising, but he isn't strong enough just yet. You know what? While that is a concern per se, he's 20 years old. David Robinson was 7'1", 235. Now, granted, he was ripped beyond belief, but still, you can get bigger. We've seen a lot of players come in. Michael Jordan got pushed around in the 80s and hit the gym. Joshua Primo, player we just drafted. We see him growing, so he obviously can put up size. What do we want him to be? About 7'2", 7'3", 250. It's not without a shadow of doubt, he can get bigger, so that's not a big concern right now. Chet Holmgren's projected to be a top 3 pick, and the dude looks anorexic. He looks thinner than me. So he's going to obviously put on some weight. I don't see people saying don't draft Chet Holmgren because he's too thin. Well, actually, some of you have, but overall, he's probably going to go top 3. So, what's the future for him? A possible call-up in the second round remains within the realm of possibility, and I did see an article on Ken's 5 this week that said, he was interviewed, now granted this was 2020, but in the interview he said, quote, I want to say the Spurs, but the Spurs are not in the playoffs anymore, unquote, when talking about who he'd like to play for. So it seems like this is a team he would like to come to. And quite frankly, after watching the highlights and reading the nice intangibles of Kai Sotto, I am totally on board if the Spurs take him with their second round pick. I don't expect him to go in the first round. I'd rather they don't pick him in the first round as he's projected. Actually, he's not even projected to go in the draft. A lot of mock drafts analysis have him being undrafted, but still, second round pick, totally on board. If we use him at 20 or 25, I won't be upset. We have 4 draft picks. And Spurs fans, I'm going to close with this. I think there's a good chance to draft all 4. Unless they can pull off a trade, maybe a trade with the Houston Rockets, getting the number 3 pick. I think they might draft 4 guys and say, all right, we're going to throw 4 darts at the dartboard and see how many stick. Because more often than not, most of your draft picks don't hit. Maybe your first rounders do, your second rounds don't. But if we're throwing 4 dartboards, maybe one dart at the dartboard, maybe 1 hits, maybe 2 hits. And this is a player, from what I'm reading, I would honestly be very happy with in the second round. Granted, he's not projected to be drafted in the first round. But you know what? Again, we have so many picks. Send him to the G League, because that's probably where he's going to go with half of our picks. See what he can do. And if he's actually crushing it down there, bring him on up and start him off, start playing him off the bench. Either way, it's going to be an exciting time to be a Spurs fan. And Kai Sotto, hope to see you in the NBA this season, man. Seems like you're going to be a fun player to watch. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And as always, go Spurs, go!